Okay, fans of Yin Yoga, this is for you and me. So, spontaneously decided to lead you in a Yin practice today for two reasons. One, I hurt my knee yesterday and I feel like I've just been going too hard, so it'll be good for my body to slow down and take some deep stretch and some time to think. Also, I have a message that I want to share. There's a lot going on in our community, and the idea of unity and the responsibility of the church in that unity has been on my mind, in my heart, and so I wrote a devotional that I'd like to share with you today. So gather your props and try to find a quiet space in your home and join me. This will probably be a 45-minute practice. And the first thing I'd like you to do is find butterfly pose. So in butterfly, bring the soles of your feet together. Okay, if you have sciatica, remember to either elevate your hips by sitting on a block or a blanket, or sometimes it works just to kind of remove the flesh, rock side to side, find your sitting bones so that we can get the front of the pelvis to start to tilt forward. If this is uncomfortable for your hips, you can always prop with a block or two. Take a couple of breaths, just expelling any stale air that's in your lungs. Maybe one more deep breath, sending it all the way down to the belly. Filling up all the way to the top, open mouth, sigh it out. And then soften the pose. Start to walk your hands forward. I like to lead with my collarbones. That way I get some length in the spine. And then I get to a point where it just seems right to drape. If this is uncomfortable for your neck, you can place your head on a block. Or just allow your head to hang. We're going to be in this first Yin pose for the next 3 minutes. So settle in, and I would like to share with you my devotional on unity. Ephesians 4:2, this is paraphrased. It says, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love. Make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit. There is one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all. And it is God who is over all and through all and in all." There's no way to ignore the fact that we are all interconnected. Our world today is more connected than ever before in the history of the world. Through social media, technology, the ease and the speed of travel, everything about our world today is moving us closer together. There's no option but to find ways for us to coexist. This is the desire of our Creator. God's heart is for relationship with us and for His creation to love and have relationship with one another. We are His created beings, and nothing pleases Him more than when we acknowledge Him and when we demonstrate our understanding of His sacrifice by loving and serving one another. I'm going to stay for 1 more minute in this butterfly shape. I want you to slowly come up from your low back, from the base of your spine. Let your chest and shoulders and head come up last. Maybe place your hands behind your hips, separate your feet, let your knees fall side to side. If one place feels nice, just stay there. Pause for an extra second or two. set up for swan pose. So come back to seated. We're going to arrange the right knee in front of us. Just shift your weight over onto the right hip and swing your leg behind. This is a traditional way to take a swan pose. If this is not appropriate in your body, if it's too much sensation on the knee, on the back, I want you to come onto your back with the left leg bent and place the right ankle just below the left knee. From here, you can reach underneath, grasp your thigh, and pull your thigh closer to you. Getting a little more stretch and stress in the shape. And remember too, if you were in the traditional face forward pigeon or swan, it's the same thing, just depends on the lineage of yoga that you're teaching. And if you're face forward in this shape, and you find that you're leaning over to the side, just take your block or something, a rolled towel, anything will do, and place it under that right hip. Okay. And I like to start by getting some compression in the low back. So I prop myself up on my arms till it feels like a significant amount of sensation, and take a few breaths. And then walk your hands forward. Put your swan to sleep. Again, you've got your block or your pillow if you need to rest your head. And again, we'll be in this shape for 3 minutes. This shape is good external rotation, the front hip, and you're stretching or stressing the flexors of the left hip behind you. It's also a moderate back bend. So talking about unity, as you already know if you attend my classes, that I have 2 of the world's most precious baby boys, my grandsons. And like a true granny, I have my phone loaded with pictures of them doing amazing things. If you've seen my pictures on Facebook, you might be tired of them, but you would also notice that the moments that are most precious and most prevalent are the moments that capture the love between my 2 babies. When Shiloh comforts Eli, or when he brings him his pacifier or kisses his head, and Eli responds with his toothless smile, or when he curls up next to him and he just gazes adoringly at his brother. And maybe one day, these 2 will wrestle one another for a spot on the sofa or the keys to the car, but I'm certain that the bond between these 2 human children that I love so much will be permanent, and that they will always have each other's backs. And my point being is that I imagine that this is exactly how God feels about us, that when we, his children, love and appreciate and care for one another, that those are the most precious moments to him. Continue to remain in your pigeon pose, your swan pose, unless you have too much sensation on your knee. We'll stay for 1 more minute. Slowly start to come up out of the pose. Just press your chest up, come onto your propped arms, shift onto your right hip again, and swing your left leg forward. Make any small movements you need here to reset. And then shift your weight onto the left hip. Swing the right leg behind you. And we'll set up for our pigeon or our swan on the left side. If you need more sensation, some people really enjoy this pose, bringing your shin closer to parallel to the top of your mat will give you that sensation in the hip. Otherwise, protect the knee, bring your foot closer to your groin, compress the low back, Check in with your hips. Make sure you're not tilting. Take modification if you need it on your back, figure 4 legs. And then put your swan to sleep by walking your hands forward. I think we would all admit that it's easy for us to love and care for the people who are like us. But the challenge is for us to truly understand our own value and worth and then apply it to all of God's people. The differences in our corner of the world are not limited to race. We also have a diverse cultural upbringings. We have social standings, and we've all experienced our faith differently and live it out in very different faith communities. But despite our differences, we who are followers of Christ are united in the Spirit. And this thing we have in common is the only thing that truly matters. We are spiritual beings made in the image of our Creator and living out our human experience here on planet Earth. And as spiritual beings created by the Father, we are commanded to love one another. Our emotions and our culture cannot override this command. And we cannot insert racial or social tolerance in place of oneness. Ephesians 4 verses 11 to 14 says, "It was he who gave some to be prophets, some to be evangelists, and some to be pastors and teachers, to prepare God's people for the works of service, so that the body of Christ may be built up until we all reach unity in the faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God, and become mature, attaining to the whole measure of the fullness of Christ." Slowly start to press yourself up out of this sleeping swan. Tilt over onto your left hip this time and swing the right leg around. And then straighten your legs and prepare for dragonfly. Dragonfly is that wide straddle pose. So again, find yourself. Separate your legs nice and wide. Now, a little trick that I like is to give myself a press from behind and really get into the pose so I can feel that tugging on the medial side of my knees and a lot of a sensation here, my inner thighs. And that's when I start to melt forward. Again, with a relatively straight spine. When you get to that comfortable place, you just start to melt the rest of the way, rounding your neck and shoulders forward. We're going to stay in this dragonfly for 2 more minutes.
Stop striving, I'm not angry. I've been waiting just to sit with you. Don't worry, you won't lose me. Ask me questions, I love your honesty.
way through the dragonfly pose. Sometimes there's a opening, a little more space is created because the tissues have softened and stretched. I want to move a little deeper into it. And slowly start to press the front body up. When you get all the way to the top, bring your hands on the outsides of your legs and guide them back together. Give them a bounce. So you can feel your toes again. And then we're going to take a half caterpillar here. So bring the right knee into your chest. First we'll take a twist. Wrap your left arm around your right knee. Prop yourself up nice and tall. Look over your right shoulder. Just relax in my arms, sweet child. You can trust that I'm taking care. Bring your gaze back to the front. This time we're going to drop the right knee to the floor. Bring your sole of your foot inside of your thigh and fold over that extended left leg. Again, start by leading with your chest and then allow yourself to drape. I'm going to stay for one more minute in that single leg caterpillar while I take care of a technical issue. To the top, you're going to straighten the right leg. Okay, keep the left knee bent to begin with. Left hand is right behind your tail. Right arm wraps around your thigh and twist. Imagine starting at the base of your spine and wringing out your spine like you would a rag. You are safe. Bring your face back to the center, back to the front. Release your leg. Bring your left foot on the inside of your thigh. Lengthen your spine and fold forward. press yourself back up. Get all the way to the top. Again, lean behind with your hands and just reset your legs. And then find just that easy seat, comfortable seated position. Okay, and from here, just tilt over into all fours. We'll take 5 rounds of cat and cow. I want you to do it slow, methodical, intentional. Starting with the belly, the low back, dropping, then dropping the chest, and finally bringing your face to look up. You do this on your inhale. As you start to exhale, round your tailbone. Bring the motion through the upper back, and finally, forward flexing through the neck. Again, inhale, belly drops, chest drops, face lifts, and exhale, rounding the spine, starting with your tail. Head is last. We'll take 3 more on your own breath. Up your last round of cats and cow. And then find your neutral spine again. Make sure the hips are over the knees, shoulders are right over the wrists. We're going to plant the left hand. We're going to take a twist in our spine by sweeping the right arm out perpendicular into the ceiling. And exhale it back to the mat. Do that 2 more times. Inhale as you sweep your right arm out. And exhale, come back. This time thread the needle when you swing your arm back down. So inhaling, counter twist. Exhaling, right hand underneath the left armpit. Land on your right shoulder, your right ear. You can stretch that left arm overhead. You can also stretch the left foot back if you'd like to work a little bit on balance. This is uncomfortable. Make sure you've got extra padding under the knees. And then you could also use a pillow or a block for your head. So the point is to make it comfortable enough so you can sustain the pose, because it's time that gives you the benefit of the pose. And we'll hold this shape for 2 minutes. One more option I'm going to tell you about is that you could take your left hand, bend your elbow, reach around your back, and maybe touch the top of your right thigh. Any of these variations. Yourself back into that all fours position. Just switch sides, and I'm going to turn this way. So inhale, sweep the left arm out to the side and up, and exhale back to the mat. you don't have to turn around on your mat. The reason I did that is so that when I thread the needle, my mouth will be directed at the camera. Last one. Inhale, sweep the left arm out to the side and up to the ceiling. On your exhale, underneath the right armpit, we'll thread the needle. Any variation that works for your body. Stay for one more minute. Slowly start to come up and out of the pose. We'll take a couple of happy puppy movements here. So in happy puppy, I'm going to bring my right shoulder closer to my right hip. So I'm getting a spinal twist, or not a twist, rather, spinal bending. Then the left shoulder and the left hip come closer together. So you're making a C curve with your spine. And one more time to the left. And we'll set up for Sphinx. So options in Sphinx. First of all, step your feet back. Lower yourself all the way to your belly. Have a little bit of space between your feet, which allows more room for your low back. You can stack the arms like fire logs if you have a sensitive low back. If your back is okay, come up onto the elbows, bring the hands straight out, or you can bring the hands together. If you're in this shape, you might want to just drop in and let your head dangle. Now, if you think you still need more sensation, turn your hands out to the corners, straighten your arms. More compression in the low back in this shape. And then we can still drop and relax. This shape or this pose is for the low back. So your shoulders should not be working. And we'll stay in this shape for 2 minutes.
I wanna see the love all around you. I wanna know that love is all around you. It's all around.
Get ready to come out of our Sphinx pose. I want you to do that by first lowering your chest to the mat. The spine will be sensitive here. And then turn your face either to the left or the right. I'm turning mine to my right. And I'm going to bend the right knee. This is my counter pose for Sphinx. We'll stay for 1 minute. Straighten out your leg, separate your knees, and then bend your knees and just let your legs crisscross a few times. And then we're going to press ourselves up, keeping your knees wide. Bring your big toes to touch and find child's pose. Send your hips, your butt back to your heels. Lengthen through your chest and lower to the mat.
I wanna see the love all around you, all around you. I wanna know that love is all around you. It's all around.
I'd like you to stay for 2 more minutes in child's pose. This pose is so beneficial to our hips, calming the nervous system. Yourself up out of your child's pose. So draw the knees together. Keep your feet pointing straight back. This is very important to protect the knees. And we're going to take a half camel pose here. So just start to lean back with your arms and open up the chest, the throat. If this is too much sensation, remember you can have padding underneath the knees. You can also have a blanket between your legs here. You can sit on a block. So many options. Just find something that works for you. Okay? You can also stay up. So what we're doing is stressing through the tops of the knees, the lower leg extensors, and the chest. We'll stay for 1 minute. With you, to be gentle. yourself in all fours. Curl your toes under. Walk your hands out one palm print further so they're no longer directly under the shoulders. Hover your knees. Now send your chest to your thighs as if you could spring forward, and then start to straighten the legs, sending your hips up and back, downward facing dog. You can walk this out, just stretching the lower legs, the calves, the Achilles. Go through a quick dragon series, so if you're at home and you enjoy dragons, you can spend more time in them later. I just want to walk you through. So start by shifting forward just a little bit here. Bring your right knee towards your chest. Step your right foot between your hands and drop the left knee. Now you notice I shimmied my foot back to get some nice length there. It's all about the stress between the legs, the groin. Okay? So I can use my thigh as my prop here. Or if you happen to have a small stool or meditation cushion, maybe a couple of yoga blocks and a pillow, and let your head hang. This is a low-flying dragon. 1 minute. With me, admire the clouds. With me, admire the clouds. With me, admire the clouds. We're going to transition now into twisted dragon. So place your right hand on your right knee, come onto the blade edge of your right foot and press that knee away from you. And look over your right shoulder. You can also come down to your left elbow. If you want to power it up, this is fire breathing dragon if I turn the toes under my left foot and keep that knee lifted. Stay here for 1 minute. Lots of variations in this. Just choose what's right for you. Drop your knee if it's lifted. Frame your right foot with your hands and take a half split. Send your hips back, bow over the right leg. And then we'll set up on the other side. So start out in tabletop, walk the hands out, curl toes under, hover knees, chest to thighs, straighten the legs. Left knee comes to your chest, step it between, drop the right knee. Low flying dragon. Variation, if it's in your practice, by coming onto the blade edge of your left foot, pressing the left knee away from you, twisting the spine, knee can be lifted, or you can leave it on the floor. You can also come down to the right elbow. Send your hips back, maybe even bring your left toes towards your face, half splits. And then we'll come on back and find a comfortable seated position. We'll do a quick fire log here, also called double pigeon, which is ankle over knee and knee over ankle. So I'm going to start with my left leg on the bottom. Do whatever you like. Bring your right ankle over the left knee and your right knee over the left ankle. So imagine your legs like this. Now, not everybody's body will look like this. Your knee may be up high. That's okay. It takes time and patience. You can do whatever you want with your arms, your wrists, your shoulders, your neck. I'm going to drop my left ear to my left shoulder. Been doing some gardening. That feels good in my body. And sometimes I add a little extra weight with my hand without forcing. Start by releasing your head, rolling your chin to your chest. If you had your head on your ear, just do that semicircle a couple of times. And then we'll lean back, uncross the legs, separate them. Do a little bit of movement here. And then place the other leg on the bottom. For me, it's my left ankle over the right knee. Left knee over the right ankle. I'm going to drop my right ear to my right shoulder this time. Release your head. A couple of semicircles. Or if you're all right in your neck, you can actually make a complete circle. I just hesitate to tell everyone to do that because not everybody's neck is strong enough for extension without injury. And then we'll release. We're going to come down to happy baby. So all the way to your back. Separate the knees, separate the feet. Grab the pinky toe side of each foot. If that's not accessible, just grab your calves or even the backs of your thighs. And the idea here is to stay long in your spine, my tailbone's pressing into the mat, while I draw the knees close to my armpits. Release your feet, draw both knees into your chest, give yourself a hug, and draw those circles on the ceiling with your knees glued together. Maybe egg beater, separate the knees. Bring your feet back to the mat. We're going to take a supported bridge. You can have your block on the lowest setting, or flip it on the side, or tall, whatever suits you. You want to put it right here, just above the tail, on your sacrum. Have a little space between the knees. Make room for your shoulder blades. Palms outside hips, lengthen through your neck. This should feel really nice on the spine. I want you to stay in this shape for the next 2 minutes. And I'm going to finish my thoughts on unity. Psalms 133, verse 1 says, "How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity." Unity is not sameness or uniformity. Instead, unity can be defined as any group of people who are characterized by a shared purpose, vision, or direction. It's not about being the exact same, but about advancing toward the same goal. Think of any sports team. There are different positions, different titles, and each position has a different skill set, has a different responsibility. But all the players on the team are working toward the same goal, and that goal is to win. When the team wins, it is the whole team that takes the credit. I believe that race has always been a part of God's plan, and creating unity among the races of His people is also a part of God's plan. At the center of His plan is the church, not First Presbyterian Church, but the church as a body of people with shared faith in Christ. And it's when we as believers from every race and culture and corner of society come together and operate in unity that we will be a true light in the world. We will no longer be divided or conquered, but victorious. And go ahead and remove the block by lifting your hips. Bring your hips back to the floor. And take Shavasana. Like straightening out both legs, allowing your feet to fall outward. Bring your hands by your hips. Shavasana. Our final relaxation pose. I'm going to let this song play out. Of course, in the comfort of your own home. Stay there as long as you like. Thanks for joining me in this practice.